Lifeboat Live, we have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck. Good evening, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass is my friend and my partner, Captain Mark Wages. And you're on the lifeboat. It's Martin Luther King Day. And you know what? I'm a big fan of Martin Luther King Day. As a public speaker, it is very difficult to not have a tremendous amount of respect for who's probably the best public speaker that ever lived. And if he's not, he's in the running. You know, he was definitely in the running. And in 1963, in August, he did what was to become one of the most famous speeches of all time. It was called the "I Have a Dream" speech, and most of us at least know parts of it. If you're one of those people that still harbors that kind of animosity and that kind of racist towards people of color. See that thing right there? Seriously? No joke. Whether you need sobriety or not. If you're one of those people, I don't want you here. I know my partner feels the same way, and I'd be willing to go out on a limb and say that most of the crew does. What do you think? It says Captain. It's my the third of my shirts. Yeah, I'm pretty fond of it. Yeah. So let's start, shall we? We live in a tough world right now, people. And we're not going to spend a great deal of time tonight talking about it. We could do another show on the perils of the world that we live in, especially with what's going on with drugs. And we could talk about fent, and we could talk about nitazines, and we could talk about all of them. But the truth of the matter is that it doesn't much matter what the drug is, right? The beautiful thing about the lifeboat, the thing that you people like to tell us all the time that makes us different, what makes the lifeboat so unique is how that every single person here is willing to accept every other person here. Doesn't matter where you're from, and I mean what part of the world, what part of the country. It doesn't matter what your nationality is. It doesn't matter what your religious belief is. It doesn't matter if you have one. You know, we all share one thing in common. And what we share in common is that we are slaves. Some of us have been emancipated through a beautiful process, right? One where we all lean on one another and we come to believe that there is a better way and that freedom is attainable. It's It's a beautiful concept. It really is. And it's a concept that my bobble-headed partner and I started this more than a year ago now, about a year and a half ago. We started in July. So we're going on a year and a half. And oddly enough, it was a dream. It really was. So I think it's fitting, it's touching, and it may be a bit ironic that we also have a dream, and it's a dream that is different in some ways and exactly the same in some ways as the dream of Martin Luther King. Obviously his people were oppressed in a very, very big way, and it was systematic, right? It was the almost the entire world. Now, if you go back and you watch the "I Have a Dream" speech, there were 250,000 people there. Reverend King, the Dr. King, could not see the end of the crowd. As far as his eye could see, there were people. And if you go back and you look at clips of film, one of the things that should jump out at you is the number of people in that audience who were white, the number of people in that audience who were of nationalities that were not black, who understood the vision of what Martin Luther King was talking about, how important that dream was. Sometimes I feel like there are just not enough people who see the vision of our dream. You see, right now in this world, there are just as many slaves today as there ever have been. In fact, I'll go out on a limb and tell you that there are way more slaves today than there ever were. Sadly, the slavery is somewhat of our own choosing. And I say somewhat because we know that this is a disease of choice. But you know what? There are so many people on this planet today that are slaves, and don't make any mistake at all. There are slave owners. And without any exaggeration of the truth, they are the evilest sons of bitches that ever lived. These are people who are making unbelievable money on this slavery, and they don't care about the people who are being enslaved. In fact, if you go back, there was a time where, as hideous and just odious as the concept of slavery was, there were people who, in a weird and twisted way, cared for the people that they called slaves. I'm not telling you they treated them well, people, because they didn't. But they certainly made sure that they were healthy. They made sure that they took care of them because, hell, they were possessions as far as they were concerned. But they went out of their way to make sure that those people's needs were met. Well, the new modern slave owner do not care whether or not they kill their slaves. See, they are of the firm belief that they can just crank out more. See, every day, the number of slaves in this world are growing, and they're growing at a really alarming rate. And we have a dream here on the lifeboat, and I think that all of you share it. And a great deal of that dream is how people will view those slaves. Because for the longest time, in fact, going back to the history of addiction, to the start of it, when the only thing out there that people could be addicted to were alcohol or opiates, and there wasn't anything else, there was always a pity, right? There really was. There was always a pity that you felt for those people. That pity has become disdain. It really has. It has changed to a level of disdain, and to the point now where there are politicians on this planet who just figure that, well, hell, you got yourself into it, and if it ends up killing you, well, then oh well. And unfortunately, that is the truth. And we know that that's the truth because they could do something about it. They really could. They could do something about it, and it's not getting done. And you know, it's no different. When Martin Luther King was making his speech, his biggest fear was a group of people that were going to try to show up and stop him from doing what he was doing, right? The name of that organization was the Ku Klux Klan. And go ahead and hang up and walk away and send me an email. But if you do a little research, the Ku Klux Klan was the military arm of the Democratic Party. Yeah, that's right. That's what it was. Whether you want to believe that or not, it is a stone cold fact. And they didn't want to hear this. See, in some way, it threatened their little fiefdom. It threatened the status quo. Well, right now, it's the same situation, except this time it's all about money. You see, there are people out there that really like exactly what's happening to the slaves of today, the modern slaves. Honestly, they like it. They like it because it's easy to control someone who has to have the substance every single day, right? Those people are really easy to control. And if you can maybe give them just a little bit of rights, maybe if you could just give them some dope, right? Maybe if you could make it so that they can do this substance without being prosecuted, well, you might just get you a voting block of people that are willing to vote for your cause, right? Sadly, the world doesn't care about drug addicts. And in our dream, they do. In our dream, a drug addict will have the same value as a governor or a senator, right? Or anybody else on this planet. We will be treated the exact same way. Sadly, these days we know for a fact that what's going on is a mental disease, right? This is a documentable disease. It's a disease of scorn, right? Unlike any other disease, we're just worthless. In the eyes of so many, the people who are enslaved by drugs are considered less than. They're considered less than people. They're considered less than human. And they're certainly considered less than the voting population, right? You don't have to really cater too much to these people because what are the odds they're going to vote, right? Honestly, what are the odds they're going to vote? So we don't need to worry about them much. I mean, hell, we'll pay them a little lip service because now we have to. See, we didn't used to. We didn't used to have to pay them any lip service at all. We used to say things like, lock them up and throw away the key. But see, now this disease is killing everybody, right? Every aspect of this world is being touched by this poison. And we are allowing this poison to be manufactured. We are allowing this poison to be imported. And we are allowing this poison to be delivered within 10 minutes to anywhere in the United States of America. And that is worldwide as well. Obviously, we speak often about this country because it's the country we know the best. But you know what? Doesn't matter where you go in the world these days. Fent can be delivered to you in 10 minutes, and you can order it online. Well, we have a dream that that's going to stop. And in order for that dream to become a reality, everyone on this planet needs to realize just what this is. They need to realize that this is slavery. This is modern slavery. When Dr. King made his speech, slavery was gone. It had been gone for a very long time. Unfortunately, the people that had been emancipated were still being treated like crap, right? They really were. Obviously, sit in the back of the bus, can't eat at this place, right? The Jim Crow laws were in force. And he had a dream, and in his dream, that the day was coming where the grandsons and granddaughters of former slave owners would be able to sit down with the grandsons and granddaughters of slave owners, and the two of them would have an opportunity to share this country together arm in arm. And whether you think we've done a bang-up job at that or not, it's happening. You know, I have many close friends. In fact, the man that saved my life is black. I don't view him that way. I really don't. I will tell you he's black because it's illustrative of what I'm talking about. But he's just the best person I've ever met. He also happens to be black. So that part of Martin Luther King's dream became a reality. Do we have a long way to go? Hell yes. We have a long way to go. Sadly, we don't have as far to go as people would like us to believe. See, they want to divide us into as many different camps as possible. We've talked about it on here before, right? We really have. They would like to divide us into as many camps as possible. So they would like us to hate each other. Well, I have a dream where no one hates anyone. And I know my partner feels the same way because we've spent so much time talking about it. You know, I would like to believe that there's an opportunity for everyone to love one another. I kicked a guy off the boat yesterday, right? It's not something I do. I kicked a guy off the boat yesterday because politics were more important than sobriety. If politics to you are more important than sobriety, and I don't care if you're right wing or left wing or center wing or any wing, if any of that crap is more important than saving the lives of people who need to be saved, that exit sign's for you too. Sorry, that's just the way it is, right? In our dream, the world is going to take notice of this disease. And I don't want pity. We do not want these people pitied. We want them understood. We don't want people to go, oh, this poor, ignorant, stupid. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is the understanding that this is a mental disease. This is a disorder, no different than any other disorder. It's no different than diabetes. It really isn't, except we don't shit all over people with diabetes, right? Now, we reserve that for people who are enslaved by a substance being pumped in here by a country that wishes we were dead. Instead of coming to our aid and saying, good Lord, you're being attacked by another country. We're going to do what we can to help you. We get lip service. Don't get it wrong. We get a lot of money. Money just doesn't go to anybody. It doesn't do anything to help. It's sitting on shelves. You understand that? There's literally, at this point, dozens of billions of dollars. In fact, 35 billion just in one round. 35 billion. What are we going to do with it? I don't know. Maybe somebody will file for that, right? They'll come up with a cool idea. You know why? Because we ain't got one, right? Because we as the government, we don't have one. Why? Because they don't vote. They don't pop up on the radar. We want to be treated like everybody else. We want to be understood for the fact that we suffer from a medical condition that can be treated. Trouble is, the it can be treated part seems to get lost in the shuffle. And you come up with all of these ways where maybe we'll just make all the crap legal, right? That'll make everybody happy. I got news for you. If you legalize fent, that's not going to stop people from dying from it. It's not going to stop people from stealing to get it. It's not going to stop any of the problems that these substances cause. Not at all. In fact, it's a fallacy to believe that the legalization of any of these drugs is going to make things better. And don't get me wrong, people. I'm not saying that it isn't worth discussing. I mean, it has to be, right? Because nothing else has worked, right? And that's what they tell you. They throw their hands in the air, you see. We've tried everything else. Do me a favor. Give me a list of those things you tried. Right? They like to say, well, we've tried everything else. What'd you try? What did you try? See, I've spent a decent amount of my life reading about what has been tried. And I got news for you. Nothing's been tried. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been money spent, right? Been all kinds of money spent. But nothing has been tried, right? They say, well, there's a lot of money that's going out to study this stuff. Yeah, no, there is. There's a ton of money right now being studied, especially on opioids, the synthetic stuff. We went over it on this show, did we not? Guess who's funding it? The Department of Defense. You think they got a real, you-know-what, right? You think they got a real, I can't even say this nicely. Do you think they have a real excitement, with what they want to do with that study? No, they want to see if they can't make this stuff stronger. And then come up with an antidote so that the people who are handling it aren't going to be in any danger. See, they're looking at this disease as a weapon. That's what they're doing. They're looking at this disease as a weapon. You know what else they're doing? They're turning the cheek. They're looking away. They like it. Don't kid yourself, people. They like it. It's thinning the herd, right? 300 to 400 people dying a day. And guess what those people are? They're worthless. They're worthless. They're less than human. Well, I have a dream where people realize that just because somebody is addicted to drugs, they're not any less important than Joe Biden. They're not any less important than Donald Trump. They're not any less important than any other person in this country. They just have a disease. If you could have known me 7 years ago, you would not be on this channel right now watching. I promise you. You wouldn't just not respect me, you'd hate me. I'm here to tell you that if people step up to the plate and they start taking things like treatment in a serious way, then we could save the most valuable commodity that we have in this country, right? The human being. Man, I say the generic man, women, kids, they're the most valuable commodity that we have. How many people who may have, I don't know, come up with a way for clean energy overdosed and died last year, and we'll never know? How many people may have come up with a way to actually achieve world peace who overdosed and died last year? How many people who could have done, name it, how much potential have we lost? They like to put dollar amounts on it. You know why? Because everything comes down to a dollar amount. When they say we've lost trillions of dollars, you know what they mean, right? Tax money. That's what they mean. Tax money. If that is the scope of what you believe the opioid epidemic is causing us, is a lack of tax dollars, then you suck. I'm sorry. If that is the extent of what you get out of this, then you suck. What we are losing are sons, fathers, brothers, and sisters, right? How well do you think a child is going to do if both of his parents overdosed and are no longer here? I'm not saying that grandparents can't do a hell of a job raising kids, but if you don't think your mother and father dying of fent is going to leave a indelible mark, one that will never, ever be the same, right? That child will never achieve the life that it should. And it's every day, people. I could spend the next 30 minutes that I'm here talking to you about great stories of a family of 4 whose parents died over the weekend, right? Or good parents who love their kids and the kid just can't get to sleep. He's really struggling. It's pain. He's got some pain issues and it's keeping him from sleeping. So they recommend, you know what? Why don't you try a pain med? How about a half a 30 milligram perk? I ought to be able to put you to sleep. It'll take the pain away. Oh, it'll put you to sleep. It'll put you to sleep forever. I have a dream where the government starts to actually step up to the plate and look at what's going on in this country. I have a dream where the rest of America, the people outside the lifeboat, realize that we're in World War III, that we're being attacked by chemicals, right? And this is a very simple question, and it's one that if you can't get, then I'm sorry, I really am. I question your intelligence. If we were losing 350 to 400 people a day to sarin gas, what do you think we would do? Think about it. Seriously. Take a couple of seconds and think about it. If sarin gas was killing 300 Americans a day, think our government might do something about it? I'll bet they would. I bet they would. But because the people dying chose, right, to get high, then it doesn't really matter that we're losing 300 to 400 of them a day. And don't get me wrong, there are politicians that are stepping up to the plate. Unfortunately, they are in the minority, right? They are wildly in the minority. And sadly, people, whether you believe this or not, there are lobbyists, right? You know what a lobbyist is? A lobbyist is somebody who throws cash, right? Bags full of it at politicians to get things done. And you say, wow, you can't pay off a politician. No, you can't. But you can set up a political action committee and say to them, we're going to make so much money go into that political action committee, the PAC, that will guarantee you that you spend the rest of your life in office. Well, you know what they'll do for that? They'll sell their friggin' soul for it. That's what they'll do. They really will. They'll sell their soul. There's about 3,600 people on this lifeboat. If we all make enough noise, nothing might happen. That's the truth. We all bang this drum as loud as we can and we scream about it and nothing might happen. But I got news for you, right? In August of 1963, on the Mall in Washington, when Dr. Martin Luther King stood up in front of that microphone, did you think he thought that he definitely could make that happen? Probably not. But he was willing to stand up there. But you know why? Because it was the right friggin' thing to do. And when you look out in the audience and you see all of the white people that were listening to him, there were a lot of good people that realized that it was the right thing to do. If we do this right, there are going to be people listening to what we have to say who aren't getting high, right? It'll be the equivalent of the white people listening to that speech. It will be people who have never had a drug problem, but people that realize that if it were sarin gas killing 400 of us a day, that damn it, they would do something about it. That's a dream, right? But it's a dream that we can make a reality. I promise you we can. It requires all kinds of bitching. It really does. It requires us. I don't like doing these shows. I don't like coming on here, and I don't like complaining, because the truth of the matter is our dream was to give you hope. Our dream was to show you a roadmap that you could follow to get sober. And a lot of people are following that roadmap. But unfortunately, politics have become a part of our dream, whether we wanted it to or not. And we weren't stupid enough in the beginning to not know that that was a potential. That's why when we first started, we said, we're not going to talk about politics on this show. And you know what we really meant by that? We didn't want someone coming on going, boy, Trump sucks, right? Guy's a racist. Guy's an idiot. And on top of that, we didn't want someone coming on going, Biden's a puppet. That man is far too stupid to actually be doing anything. There's obviously somebody pulling the strings. Those are the type of politics that we didn't want discussed on this channel, right? That's what we wanted. We didn't want guys saying, you're stupid for being a Democrat. You're stupid for being a Republican. Those are the arguments we didn't want. Unfortunately, drugs and politics now are the exact same thing. They are, whether you like it or not. The Twin Towers came down. It broke my heart, people. If Johnny were here, he could tell you, I tried to go and roll. I really did. I went down to every single place that I could possibly become a soldier in this country. And they said, you're a felon, you're old. How many felonies you got? It wasn't an option. But I was ready to go, and I was ready to fight, right? Because it just hurt me. And you know why it hurt me? Because they attacked us on our soil. They attacked us on our soil, and 3,900 people were dead. And I couldn't handle that. A lot of Americans couldn't handle that, right? In the next 10 days, we're going to lose more people than that. And you know where we're going to lose them? On our soil. These people aren't dying in other countries. Oh, but these insidious SOBs, they're not flying planes into things. They don't have to. They don't have to. They get these itty bitty little bags, right? And they put stuff on the bags that say stuff like, Blue Thunder, right? Or whatever the name of the drug, that they're currently going with. And they're just going to sell them in bindles. Today, while we're speaking, someone is dying. Today, as I'm talking, they're putting Narcan up someone's nose, and it's the 6th or 7th dose that they're putting up that person's nose, and it's not going to save them. And you know what they are? They're drug addicts. They're junkies, right? They're wastoids. These aren't people worth saving. Well, F you. They're not people worth saving. There's not a person on this planet addicted to drugs who's not worth saving. I would like to believe that my bobble-headed partner is making a difference in this world. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, he was a junkie. Today, he's fighting to help people who he's never met get sober because it's the right thing to do. It's amazing what happens when you can get the drug out of the man or the woman. How fast they now want to do the right thing. If we could save everybody that we're losing, we would have an army. Have you thought about that? Honestly, 100,000 people a year, 10 years, that's an army. It's a big friggin' army. It would be one of the biggest armies on the planet. We've lost over 1 million people to this crap, right? I hope it is everybody's dream that this can be stopped. I hope it's everybody's dream that a drug addict can be respected. Not once he gets clean, once he gets his life together. No. When he's suffering, when he's strung out, right? When he needs the next fix more than he needs air. I hope we can respect him then. Funny thing happens when you start respecting someone while they're still addicted. They got a shot at getting sober. But if the game plan is, if you can go ahead and get sober, well, then we'll respect you. We'll begin to treat you like an American. That doesn't work, people. You know why? Because if you don't feel respect for yourself, if you have no respect for who you are, then life doesn't seem all that precious. You don't lose respect for yourself solely because you become addicted to drugs. But it's just not the case. It helps. Don't get it messed up at all. That helps. But one of the reasons that you lose respect for yourself is because nobody has a lick of respect for you. They turn their head, right? The nose goes up. One of those, right? Talk to somebody you don't know. Don't let them know you're a member of the lifeboat, but talk to them about this opioid crisis. Within the first 4 people you talk to, someone is going to say to you, well, that's what they get, right? That's what they get. What if we were losing 300 people a day to diabetes? Do you think people would say, well, that's what they get for not being able to process sugar, weaklings, right? It's a character defect. They can't process sugar. Screw them. That's what they get, right? Maybe they shouldn't have eaten so much. No. The only disease out there that brings scorn along with it is this disease. I have a dream that we can get over that. I have a dream that we can treat people who are addicted to drugs with respect and sympathy, in that order. Not sympathy and then maybe a little respect if you're willing to try down the road. People, it's slavery. It's slavery, right? Take this from someone who knows. There are a lot of you that say a lot of nice things about me. You do. More than I deserve, I promise you. And one of the ironic things is how often one of you will say that I'm a really intelligent person. If you believe that, if you believe I'm even a slightly intelligent person, then I want you to think about something. I spent 30 years of my life doing heroin every day and stealing to get the money to do it. Does that sound intelligent? Then it's proof that intelligent people can do some really, really stupid stuff in order to make that happen, right? Because it's not an option. I'm not sure if you can imagine. If you're someone that's addicted to a drug that isn't physically dependent, I'm not taking anything away from that. I know that they're all serious. But when you get sick, and I mean the kind of sick that makes you think you're going to die, what do you think you'll do to make that go away? Women, sometimes married women, will sell their body to the first person with $50 so that they can get well. That's absolutely horrifying. I handed number 5 $20 in hopes that she wasn't going to have to perform a sex act on the first guy that pulled into that parking lot so that she could just get well. You understand? Not get high, to just get well. And there are a bunch of you, right, who think I made the wrong move. I would make that wrong move again tomorrow. And I would make that wrong move again the next day. Because I know that there is nobody out there that thinks, oh, great, I can let this guy lay on top of me so that I can get well. I can let this guy use me so that I can get clean. That's the world we're in, people. That's the world we're in. You think there's a happy prostitute selling herself tonight to get her substance? And make no mistake, that goes in both directions. There are men selling themselves today. And in many cases, these men are heterosexual, which means they're doing something that for them is reprehensible because they don't have an option. And how do we treat them? Like scum. If ever there's been somebody that needs a hug, if there's ever been anybody that needs someone to look them in the eye and say, we're going to help you. I don't want anything out of it. I don't want a damn thing out of it. I want you to get well. We're blessed today that somebody on the boat that was at their wits' end got over to Quick MD today and was able to sign up and get on Suboxone. It's going to keep them from having to go out and get poison so that they can feel better tomorrow. This person is the happiest person I've talked to in a very long time. They literally described the whole process as a miracle. Do you realize the number of people who don't know that for $100 they can make it stop? $100 they can make it stop. I find myself sometimes wanting to rob a bank again because I think about how many $100 bills I could get and how many people I could get onto Suboxone with one good lick, right? One good lick. 18, 20 grand, one shot. How many people could I save? There's 38 frigging billion dollars sitting on a shelf because our government doesn't know that they could give $100 to these people and get them clean. There's nobody out there smart enough to put together a program that says, you want to get off? Walk in. We're going to get you on it today. We're going to get you on it today. You don't think we could set up some kind of a parameter to make sure that they're not slinging that stuff? Maybe you make them come and pick up the strip for the first 2 weeks. Show that they're willing to do it, right? These people are savable. They're savable. You know what the worst part of this is? It's a dream. It's a dream. It's a dream my partner shares with me. What a crying friggin' shame that this has to be a dream. I bet you that that Dr. King felt the same way. This has to be a dream, right? That we would treat people of different colors the same, right? They got a heart. It's got 4 chambers, pumps blood, right? They got lungs. They breathe in, take in oxygen. They are the exact same person, no matter what color they are, right? They're the exact same person. They worry about things. They pray to God. They go to sleep. They get up. They go to work. Same person, right? Okay. Now here we are in 2023. And instead of color, now it's a drug. And I assure you that those people selling their body, running into a store and running out with a bunch of stuff that they're going to go sell to a fence. We watch those clips on TV where you see people run into a store and grab an armful of stuff and go running out. What do we think? What a bunch of scumbags, right? They're just taking advantage of the situation and they're out robbing people. You think they're robbing to get rich? You think they're stealing those handbags because they want to walk around with Prada? They're trying to stay well. They're trying to not get sick. And the amazing thing is they're going to pay for their own death. They're going to steal to come up with money to pay for their own death. I have a dream where all 50 states in this union think it's a good idea to hand out Fent test strips. You know that there are states that don't allow it? Yeah, we don't want that. Why would you want them to be able to tell if it's Fent? All that's doing is encouraging drug use, right? Giving out needles, well, that just encourages drug use. I promise you, right? There's never been a person anywhere on this planet that thought, hey, Mark, I don't know if you heard, they're giving out needles. Let's become heroin addicts.
We can skip down to the corner and do it together.
Let's do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hell, there they are. They're free needles. We're ready to roll. Let's be junkies.
Right. Exactly.
There are states who still believe that mindset. 350 people die tomorrow from sarin gas. We're going to attack south of the border. We're going to go rolling in there with tanks. If they're using chemical weapons on our people, we're going in with tanks. Any doubt in your mind? We're going to start bombing countries. If they're killing 300 to 400 people a day with sarin gas, we're going to start a war. Well, I got news for you. That war's already started.
Yep.
We're just not involved. Bring it on. Bring it. Kill all the Americans you want. Seriously. You know why? Because they're write-offs. They're worthless. All of you who say, boy, you know what? You and Mark are awesome. You guys are, I mean, why do you think we want you to say you guys are lucky? We're lucky because we're not dead.
Right.
We're lucky because I'm not robbing banks today to get that stuff. I'm lucky because a black man said, I'm going to help you get clean and you're going to stay clean. I got news for you. He could have been purple. He could have been blue. He could have been white. He could have been black. But I couldn't love him more. I promise you. Make that fool whatever color you want. I could not love Q more than I love him. It's a pretty sad existence that we find ourselves in today. And you know what? Martin Luther King Day comes and goes. People don't think about it. Sadly, they don't. I would imagine that people who shared his skin color probably find that to be a very important day. I'm more impressed with the dream. I'm more impressed with somebody that had a dream that this country could be better than it is. Because I'll tell you something. How many asses that we have elected do you think have a dream of making this country a better place? Think about it. How many people that we voted into office have a plan, much less a dream? We have the ability, people, to make a difference. Do you think we're going to fix it? We're not. We're not. But if we can save one or two of them, man, if we can save one or two of them, then you know what? I will have gotten off of this planet and I will not have wasted the first 46 years of my life. Because if I just go about my life and I get a job and I sell some watches and, I do what I do, but I don't do this, well, then I pissed away 46 years of my life. And you don't have to believe in what I believe in. In fact, I'm not offended by any of you that don't. If you think I'm stupid, you know what? Go ahead. You got that right. But I believe wholeheartedly that a day is coming where I'm going to stand in front of God. And I would like to be able to say to him, I didn't do much with the first 46 years of my life. But you know what? I did everything I could with what you gave me after that. I really tried to make a difference. Everybody that is hearing my voice, if what I am saying is making any sense to you, then you know what? It's your job. It's your job to try to make this earth a better place. It is. Whether you like it or not. When you understand what's going on, when you know that it isn't sarin gas that's killing our kids. It's friggin' opiates that's killing our kids. Maybe they're just sending drugs over. Maybe they're not trying to kill anyone. They might just be trying to get them high. Then why is every batch they're testing stronger than the last? Does that make any sense to you? We're under attack, people. We're under attack. In my dream, somebody in government gets it, right? Sadly, we need a lot of people in government to get it, right? There are people out there beating the drum. There really are. There's a governor, right, from Iowa who's from Idaho, who gets it. Who gets it? I promise. Read the literature. This woman said she gets it. She can't be alone. The way a politician decides to get a dream is when they have a nightmare the night before. And in that nightmare, they get kicked out of office and they have to go get a job, right? That's the nightmare that creates the dream. What can I do? I'm one person. You can make your governor. You can make your senator believe that they might lose their job. Create that friggin' nightmare and watch how fast it becomes a dream. Watch how fast they come out and their script writers write them a hell of a script about how the light has come on. I have come to the belief that we're under attack and we're going to do something about it. You don't want me to talk about politics? I understand. I really do. Listen to this one real quick. Joe Biden's a piece of crap. He sat across from his enemy, our enemy, and in 3.5 hours didn't mention the word fentanyl. I don't care how you vote. That man's a loser. You hear me? He's a loser. Not because of anything else. Not because he's a Democrat. Not because because he had a shot at talking to someone whose chemicals were killing 400 people a day. So if I offend you by saying that, good. Take a good look at who you are. If you're offended by what I just said, you need to evaluate you, not your politics. For real. And I swear to you on a stack of 35 Bibles, if it had been a Republican who spent 3 hours talking to Xi and did not bring up Fent, I'd be calling him an ass. Just happens to be this ass. Right? Doesn't matter which side of the aisle, people. And if you don't see that, then you certainly don't share my dream. And you certainly don't share my bobble-headed partners. You know, before we went live today, we said, this one could go really bad.
Yeah, it's a really touchy subject. It truly is, guys, and I think one of the biggest things that Tommy made perfectly clear is we don't give two craps what side of the aisle you're on. You know, you say left wing and right wing and all this, but nobody can fly. It's stupid. I mean, it really is, and to just be on one side and one camp, what you're doing is you're automatically eliminating any other idea than what you already have, and that just funnels people into echo chambers, and nothing ever gets solved in those things. It is the literal definition of insanity. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And it doesn't happen that way. Iron sharpens iron. And I said that probably 5,000 times on this channel. But it is the God's honest truth. That is what's going on. And like Tommy said, you can believe in a higher power or not. For me, obviously, I'm a Christian. When I get there, I want him to look at me and say, good job, good and faithful servant. No matter what you did for those few years, you still did what you were supposed to when it counted. And this is my time to count, and that's why I'm here. Not to mention my kids, all those kinds of things come into play too, but specifically talking about this subject, I do believe that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And in some ways, and in a lot of ways, I think that I went through that for this reason. I can't get my brain to wrap it around any other way. I was not the person that did any kind of drugs in high school. I didn't experiment at all. Never even smoked weed. So for me to get addicted to a drug when I was in my 30s, it's hard for me to sit here and think that there wasn't a reason for that. And I do think that this is part of that reason. And I know that I've affected some people in a positive way here. I hear it, we see it, and it's such an uplifting thing. And it's what keeps us going. That's our fuel. That's what we do. It fuels us, and that's why we keep doing it. If at any point something like, we used to say this a lot too, that there's something better out there, we're going to be the first subscribers over there. It doesn't, I mean, and you know what? Hey, here, come here and do it. You know, I mean, it's just what it is. That's the goal. The goal is
Along those same lines,
yeah.
Matt, let me promise you on everything that I have ever cared about. If somebody comes out tomorrow and they say we're being attacked with a opiate that is killing 300 to 400 people a day, and I'm going to make it my number one goal to not allow this country to be at war silently, being attacked by the beast from the east, and with help from our friends south of the border to kill American citizens. They can be a Democrat. I'm going to vote for them. Hell, I'm going to campaign for them.
That's right.
I don't care. I hope you get that.
Yep.
I'm beating on the president because he sucks, but I will beat on a Republican just as bad. I need somebody to step up to the plate and say, we're under attack, and I'm going to do something about it. And as God is my witness, God I believe in, as God is my witness, I don't care who comes up with the solution. I will make phone calls for them. I will go down to the Republican center. I will go down to the Democrat center, and I will dial phones. I will say, this is not my party, but God, they got a solution and they care, right? But as of right now, I wouldn't make a phone call for either of them.
Yeah. I know, and I think that I fall in the same boat there, guys. And it's unfortunate. It really truly is, because we love where we're at. We love the country that we're in. It's just, you know, and again, I think that that's where people get kind of skewed, because we're so programmed into thinking that we got to be on one side or the other to fix a problem. No, it's actually part of the problem.
Damn right.
And people start, you know, and the other thing that really bothers me, especially when we're talking about subjects like this, is that we cannot even have a different opinion. If you have a different, just on the smallest little thing, people get upset. And I understand that that's society. I understand that's what we're dealing with. So we do go at it at that way. You know, if we'd have been doing this channel 20 years ago, this probably would not be kid gloved like it is now. And we're not so kid gloved. So, I mean, you can imagine what we would be saying then. You know, we just realized that if we do that now, there's absolutely no way anybody would listen. So we don't want to yank our voices. And that's why we do kind of pat it just a little bit. Because you have to. I mean, and I think anybody that is a channel creator would say the same thing. And before I forget, because I will, Kylie and Awaken, thank you guys for becoming members tonight. I appreciate that. I had you guys up there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I
yeah, well, you were no.
sidetracked.
Yeah, you were doing your thing. That's why I was going to wait till that was.
I appreciate you doing that, Kylie. Welcome. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Do me a favor. If you're being honest, right? This is what's going to happen next. You hear something like this, and it sounds like a great dream, doesn't it? It really does. And then you sit there and you think, I'm one person, right? I'm one person. What can I do? I'll tell you what you can do. There are 58, maybe 60 of you here right now. Tonight, I'm going to go into the back office, right? And I'm going to look at analytics. And I'm going to look at things like, at what point did people bail off? You know, how long did the average person stay? You know what else I'm going to look for? How many of you shared this? And I'm going to know by name. Straight up, I don't know if you know this, but I can tell you by name how many of you shared this video. If anything that I am saying is making sense to you right now, if this sounds like a dream that needs to happen, share this damn video, right? That's all you got to do. I'm not asking you to make signs and carry them around, right? It's scary though, isn't it? Because you share this video and you think, boy, people are going to look down their nose at me. Can you imagine what Mark and I are going through? Right?
Yeah.
Seriously, you don't think I'm going to get some hate?
Oh, I'm sure.
The sad thing is, all we're doing is saying one simple, very simple concept. What if it was sarin gas? What if it was mustard gas? What if it was a dirty bomb? What if it was radiation? What if it was anything other than an opiate? We'd be raising hell, wouldn't we? Yeah. We would be raising hell as a country if this was anything but an opiate.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's an opiate. So you know what? There's 60 of you. I'm not trying to tell you that I'm going to be, calling you out by name, but I'm going to be disappointed. I promise you that. I really am. I want to see every single one of you share this video. Not because I want to be the biggest YouTuber in history, because I honestly, people, I will gladly do the rest of these things with a bag over my head, and you can call me the YouTube guy. I don't care about fame. I don't care about being noticed.
Yep.
But for the love of God, who else is yelling? Right?
Exactly.
Find me other shows like this so that I can share them.
Yep. And I want to say thanks to Adam. Adam's here tonight. I'm not sure if you've seen Adam in the chat. And, he's been sharing us out over on Marfugal a lot, helping this channel a lot, guys. And thank you, Adam, for that. You and Dex are awesome. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that I seen you in the chat. So
I did not see him, and I'll tell you something. When you got a platform the size of what Marv does, the fact that you guys have pushed us out has made a huge difference. It really has, and it means the world to us. It does, and it's and you know what, people, when platforms get huge, they forget the rest of the world. So for the guys at Marfugal to do what they do is nothing shy of amazing, and it's certainly humbling. But I beg you, people, man, share this out. Share it out. It's a dream, and it's a dream that if it does not become a reality, people, we're not going to have a country. We're not. And I think we're in deep trouble anyway. I really do.
Yeah.
But on the best of case scenario, right, that somehow we dodge all of the bullets, and there's a lot of them out there, folks, but we dodge all of the bullets, right, and we somehow squeak through this. You know what we need 10 years from now? You know what we need 20 years from now? We need workers. We need thinkers. We need inventors. But we're losing 300 a day. And I'm talking about, I'm sorry, if it's a relative of yours, take this in the vein that I mean it in, but they're the lucky ones. Because the ones that are enslaved, who are selling their body and selling their soul, and I'll tell you something, people, take this from somebody who walked into a bank and said, put all of the money in the bag. And I was doing that for H. If I was doing that for Fent, I'd be dead. There's no way I'd be here talking to you. But this is so near and so dear to our hearts. People, make this dream a reality. Get out there right now, and share this, right? Beat this drum. Because if we don't, I assure you no one else is going to. We ran a little late. When I'm this loud, Squirrel Nut Zipper just gets bummed out and leaves. So there won't be a cat basket tonight, which is a crying shame. Yeah, seriously, she can feel my energy.
Yeah. My dog
People,
does
if
the
I
same
sound
thing.
angry, it's not at anybody here. I love you people. I really do. I love you people. Thanks so much again to the people from Marfugal for being here. It means, I can't tell you what it means to me, and that's the truth. I can't tell you what it means to me. But this dream needs to be a reality, people. It really does. It needs to be a reality. And this dream can be a reality. It can be. But we got to get on it now. Share this. Talk about it. If you can't win the war on drugs, make damn sure you win the battle.
There
right?
you go.
You got kids, you got nieces and nephews, you got people you care about. You make sure that they know this crap is out there. And if you feel weird about talking to them about them, drag them on over here. I'll talk to them one-on-one. I will do this 24 hours a day until I haven't got any wind left, and my partner feels the same way. All right? We're going to be back tomorrow night. Thank you, people, for letting us do this. This was Martin Luther King's day, and you know what? People, if you don't have a serious respect for who Martin Luther King was and what he did, go watch that speech. Please. In fact, watch any of them. But go watch that speech because it is absolutely remarkable. All right? We will be back tomorrow night. Same squirrel time, same squirrel channel. There'll be a cat in the basket, I promise. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass,
Mark Wages, and thank you, Tracy, just joined. Just wanted to say that real quick.
Tracy, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. To all of you who are supporting it. You know what? That money goes to good places. There's somebody today right now who's on Suboxone starting today because of you people. So God bless you. It's you guys are making this happen.
You guys. Yes.
Yep, it really is. That is for you. And if you're that person and you're listening, no, it didn't come from me and Mark. It came from them. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass,
Captain Mark Wages.
God bless, people. We'll see you tomorrow.